The Israel-Palestine conflict has long shaped Indonesia's foreign policy, becoming one of the most important issues influencing the government's stance and decisions on the international stage. This stance is rooted in a deep solidarity with Palestine, which has been part of Indonesia's national identity and pride for decades. But, under President Prabowo Subianto's leadership, a new, more practical and realistic approach is starting to show up in Indonesia's diplomacy. Since taking office in 2024, Prabowo has moved away from simply supporting one side to a strategy that focuses more on finding solutions. By really pushing for direct talks and negotiations, he suggested recognizing Israel under certain conditions and having Indonesia play an active role in keeping the peace, while also encouraging more international involvement. This is a big change. Indonesia is now trying to be a go-between, not just a supporter, and wants to be a trusted mediator in the eyes of the world. Prabowo's goal is to make Indonesia more important globally, moving beyond its usual regional role to become a major player in worldwide issues. By dealing with the Israel-Palestine problem directly, he's showing that Indonesia is ready to offer real solutions and actual help for peace. But, this bold move comes with big challenges, both at home and abroad. This issue is very sensitive in Indonesia, closely tied to religious identity, national pride, and a long history of supporting Palestine. As Prabowo walks this diplomatic tightrope, the world is watching closely to see if this new chapter will lead to a historic breakthrough or cause problems both at home and internationally. President Prabowo's new policy is a big deal, marking an unprecedented new chapter in Indonesia's diplomatic history. At the UN General Assembly in 2025, the world saw Indonesia make a bold move on the international stage. Prabowo made a historic promise. Indonesia would recognize Israel, as long as Israel recognized a sovereign Palestinian state. This statement shook up global diplomacy. This conditional approach completely changed Indonesia's stance, from strong rejection to active involvement in Middle East peace efforts. Not only that, Prabowo also offered to send 20,000 Indonesian peacekeepers to Gaza as part of a multinational force, supporting a fair and peaceful two-state solution. This is a real commitment, not just political talk. Indonesia is showing seriousness and global responsibility. For the first time, an Indonesian president openly acknowledged Palestinian freedom and Israel's security needs, showing Indonesia as a credible and brave mediator. By linking recognition to the creation of a Palestinian state, Prabowo created a strong new incentive for both sides to negotiate. He's using Indonesia's diplomatic weight, which has always been neutral, to push for real results and positive change in the region. This move isn't just about changing foreign policy, it's about changing the dynamics of the conflict itself, opening up new hope for lasting peace in the Middle East. Prabowo's policy is a big change from 70 years of strong support for Palestine by Indonesian presidents. This is something that has never happened before in Indonesia's foreign policy history. Past leaders, from Sukarno to Jokowi, said no to any official contact with Israel. They made Indonesia a worldwide champion for a Palestinian state. They always stood firm with Palestine. Indonesian passports don't even list Israel, and getting involved was totally forbidden. This policy showed a strong promise to the Palestinian cause. This strict stance made Indonesia less important, because it refused to talk to one of the main sides. This often left Indonesia on the sidelines of world talks. Prabowo's offer to recognize Israel with conditions is a big new idea in Indonesian politics. It's a brave and debatable step. Experts say no leader before him used recognition as a bargaining chip. This is a completely new way of doing things. Prabowo sees Indonesia as a possible world power, not just a regional leader. He wants to change Indonesia's place on the world stage. His approach is practical. It focuses on finding answers, not just showing support. He believes that being actively involved will lead to better results. By breaking away from the past, he wants to make Indonesia a flexible diplomatic power in the 21st century. This is a big and challenging idea. This is a bold try to move Indonesia from the edges to the center of world diplomacy. Prabowo hopes this step will bring Indonesia into a new time in international relations. Prabowo's bold move quickly grabbed international attention and praise. The United States, led by President Trump, openly praised Prabowo at a peace summit in Egypt. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu called his statements encouraging, opening the door for talks. Experts noted that making things normal with Indonesia could change the whole picture of diplomacy in the Middle East. Prabowo's stance made people wonder if other Muslim-majority countries might follow suit. But some of Palestine's old friends are still being careful, watching to see if this new way of doing things actually helps. The big thing for Prabowo is to show that his policy helps Palestine become free, not just makes things normal. The world is watching to see if Indonesia's practical approach can deliver on its promises. Prabowo's growing influence was clear at the Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit in Egypt. He was the only Southeast Asian leader invited, showing Indonesia's new diplomatic importance. At the summit, Prabowo actively pushed his idea for a two-state solution and offered Indonesian peacekeeping troops. This marked a change for Indonesia, moving from the sidelines to the center of Middle Eastern diplomacy. His active approach made him stand out from leaders who just talk the talk. Prabowo showed Indonesia as a problem solver, not just a supporter. This bigger role is key to his goal of making Indonesia a global player. The summit showed Indonesia as a strong, practical actor ready to lead. Prabowo's performance was a big step toward securing Indonesia's place among the world's most important countries. The international praise for Prabowo's diplomacy stands in stark contrast to deep divisions back home. For many Indonesians, supporting Palestine is a matter of religious faith and national identity. Any perceived softening towards Israel sparks suspicion and protests from Islamic groups and pro-Palestinian activists. After Prabowo's UN speech, protests erupted, with critics accusing him of betraying national principles. However, Indonesia's urban youth and business community see his approach as modern and practical. They argue that mediation can have a greater impact than distant support. This division forces Prabowo to balance deep-seated public sentiment with his global ambitions. The government emphasizes that recognizing Israel is heavily dependent on Palestinian independence. Careful messaging is crucial to prevent foreign policy gains from being undone by domestic unrest. The Israel-Palestine issue is one of the most politically sensitive topics in Indonesia. Showing support for Palestine is very personal for many Indonesians, and it's made even stronger by religious leaders and social media. Historically, any kind of involvement with Israel has been seen as political suicide, risking huge public protests. Even small interactions like sports events have caused a lot of negative reactions. Prabowo's government is very aware of these risks and carefully manages what they say to the public. When rumors came out about a possible visit to Israel, the government quickly denied it to stop any unrest. Every step towards engaging with Israel is paired with strong statements of support for Palestine. This double message is super important for staying politically alive in Indonesia's tense atmosphere. Despite Prabowo's vision, his government's actions sometimes go against his diplomatic words. For example, in October 2025, Indonesia said no to visas for the Israeli gymnastics team, which sounded like the old, tough policies. This move, which seemed like a way to give in to pressure at home, sent mixed messages to other countries. These mixed signals show the struggle between Prabowo's big plans and what's really happening in Indonesia. Experts warn that being inconsistent like this could hurt Indonesia's standing as a peacemaker. The government workers and political groups haven't fully caught up with Prabowo's new ideas. Until policies and actions match up, Indonesia's diplomatic efforts will be met with doubt. The big challenge is to make sure actions always reflect the new direction of foreign policy. Prabowo's diplomatic gamble could redefine Indonesia's global role or spark a domestic crisis. He's trying to balance international demands for involvement with strong public support for Palestine at home. Working with Israel and its friends has made Indonesia more visible on the world stage. This could bring good things for strategy and money, making ties stronger with big, powerful countries. But the emotional connection to Palestine is very deep. Any wrong step could cause a backlash and problems at home. Prabowo's success depends on getting real results, progress for Palestine and respect abroad. Just talking isn't enough. He has to show his way works better than what was done before. The world and the people of Indonesia are waiting for real outcomes. Can Prabowo make a big breakthrough for the Palestinian state and bring his country together? The future of his presidency and Indonesia's place in the world depends on this delicate balance.